Peace and love, everybody. It's your Brozo here, and I'm back home in Richmond, Virginia, and I just so happened to meet up with a hardcore legend. Y'all know me from my my back days, back playing in Richmond. One of the few dope hardcore bands that I had in the '90s. Well, I met up with my man Scot Ebanks in New York City. He just so happened to be down here, and a lot of people don't know, but he pretty much is a living legend, like real good, especially for people of color in the hardcore scene. Anybody that knows Bad Brains and all those bands back there were people of color that laid the foundation. So kids like me, you know what I'm saying, when they came to shows, they had respect, etc. This is one of these cats from up in New York City. So we're gonna sit down with him and get a lot of questions answered about a bunch of things. So y'all hang on, and I'll be right back. Peace and love, everybody. Doing things a little bit different today. I want to put all the shine on my man Scotty here. Go ahead, Scotty.
Hi, y'all.
Yeah, please. Like we like to do at the Elevated Beings. I like to talk to and build with individuals that are positive, that have made positive strides in their lifestyle, and like to project that on other people to help people grow and build. Scot Ebanks is one of those individuals, and again, as I said, if you have not subscribed to the channel and you're new, please do subscribe and press a like on this video. I would appreciate that immensely. But now I'm going to focus my time and energy on my man Scotty here. Please, Scotty, tell the people about you.
Well, as my brother just mentioned before, my name is Scot Ebanks. I'm also known by the attribute Jah, which is the sacred name of God, chemistry. It's a name given to me by my Rasta elder, Barrington Gray, many years ago, that we belovedly know as Isaac Mabrak. My Rasta elder at the time. And so people know me as both Scot Ebanks as well as Jah Chemistry, which is also my stage name. I'm a performance artist, poet, known by the same name, and that's my IG. My Instagram account is Jah, JAH _chemistry, CHEMISTRY. And I met my good brother here, through a mutual friend, and to my surprise, I always love this. Yeah, he studies Kemetic Egyptian culture and history, which I learned for many years while incarcerated, and also subsequently ended up teaching African history, ancient, far back ancient Kemetic Egyptian history, Kemetic Nubian history, and learning the contributions to life and philosophy and the high sciences from our people, from black people, the true indigenous people of the planet Earth. So we took it from there, and being that I'm a student of Kemetic Egyptian history, I also took a Kemetic name, which it espouses 4 gods. It's Asar, which many of you will know is Osiris. Excuse me. Asar, Mantu, who is the Kemetic god of war, or the Aphis bull, is a Mantu. He comes in the form of a bull. Kunum, which is the creator god that created the human form by the cosmic potter's wheel. He has the head of a ram and the body of a man. And my final name is DEDUN, which is the Nubian god in cosmic order, who also is in the form of a bull. Kind of, I'd say it's a representation of the same thing. Depending on what region you were in, whether you said Aphis or Mantu or DEDUN, it was all relevant. War god in cosmic order. So I'm also known as Asar, Mantu, Kunum, DEDUN. And my birth familiar is the god Heru, who many of you may know as Horus, who is the son of Set, the goddess Isis, and His father is Osiris. So, and I know this is going to touch a lot of hearts and minds of people that follow my brother's YouTube, but I'm very much into Kemetic Egyptian history and spiritual practice, and I love you all. And I really wish that, we always say, is this a thing? Is that a thing? Is this a thing? I want this to be a thing. Mm-hmm. And for us, it's always been a thing. Yeah. We just been detached from it, and it's been successfully hidden in many ways, mm-hmm. horribly so, and it's been turned around and transformed to benefit others.
That's very true. Now, see, you and I are kind of in the same boat, but your boat has been floating a little bit longer than mine. We both, embraced the hardcore culture. You got me by a couple of years, so you were there, before I was around. So I'm gonna kind of start with that because I don't, people don't until. Some people don't know who you are, might not know the type of people that you grew up with, connected with in the New York City hardcore scene, et cetera, et cetera. So here's my first question, and this really, this is a question to me that I wanted to give. Is a personal question. How were you introduced to New York City hardcore?
Oh, wow. I was introduced to... Before hardcore, I was introduced to punk. Mm-hmm. From the time I could make my own choice as to what type of music I liked personally, mm-hmm. the sound that I wanted to hear, mm-hmm. I had this affinity towards rock music mm-hmm. at an early age, probably around 9. The earliest times that I could remember is being in my mom's house, because my mom was... She loves her Motown and her soul music from back in those days. Mm-hmm. Back from the time when she was a young woman, and she was a teenager. So I grew up listening to Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. I grew up listening to Blue Magic, Isley Brothers, Isaac Hayes. Whatever my parents had in the house, and I still love the Stylistics to this day. I love Smokey. As Earth, Wind, and Fire. These were regular things played in my house, like most black kids. But somewhere along the line, my mom liked more pop, progressive rock mm-hmm. of that era. Mm-hmm. And, I would hear Billy Joel every morning before I went mm-hmm. to school. I would hear Carly Simon and her husband, James Taylor, and I would hear the Beatles. So my mother would play that. I would hear the Rolling Stones, and I kind of gravitated more towards that. So by the time I was 11, I started getting more into heavy metal, mm-hmm. like metal bands, and I ended up going to school in Florida. My dad sent me down to school in Florida, and I'm surrounded by white kids that listened to this. AC/DC was like the coolest thing in the world to me at that time, and Van Halen, I fell in love with Van Halen. I had every Van Halen album to 1984, and then 11 gave birth to 12 to 13, Motley Crue comes mm-hmm. out. We stay up late at night to watch videos, and we watch Ronnie James Dio, and I got introduced to Iron Maiden, mm-hmm. Judas Priest, mm-hmm. and it just got more and heavier, and I came back to New York in 84 to start high school. And my boy Eric Bacharach went into the city. He used to go in the city often because his dad worked in the city, and he would go and spend time with his pop and come home. And he'd hit up the record stores in the Manhattan. And he would always come home with this heavy, brutal music. And there was this band called Metallica. Mm. We were like, what? He's like, dude, you have to hear this. And it was the first time we ever heard Kill 'Em All. And we were like, yeah, man. And we heard this band, and to this day is my favorite band, Slayer. Mm. We had the EP Haunting the Chapel, and then they came with the full-length album Show No Mercy, and we never looked back. Mm. We went from, just straight up raw heavy metal to this new thing called thrash. And now I was introduced to these other styles of music, other bands. I heard DRI for the first time. And somewhere when I was in boarding school too, I did have a friend introduce me to the Dead Kennedys. And even being a child, I knew that, I'm like, man, this is kind of a disrespectful name for the Kennedys. They got shot. This is a horrible thing. The Dead Kennedys, who would name their band? And I said, yeah, it's wrong, but it's so cool. And I started listening to the songs, and I said, what is this? You know, some of it was over my head as a kid. And I started, now I know why they're saying California Uber allies. They're saying that these guys, the cops, are Nazis, like they're under occupation. So I got introduced to punk around my learning of heavy metal, and it kind of was peppered in there. It wasn't until I was in high school and I met some of the cooler kids, some of the older kids that would journey into Manhattan often and go buy vinyls and were already into punk and into glam, that I really got into punk. And my boy Peter Califatis and I started going to hang out in New York City. We both ended up getting kicked out of the house and living in an abandoned building on the Lower East Side of Manhattan, where we met many of the bands that are legendary now, but they were also kicked out in the abandoned buildings with us. And that's where I really learned about hardcore, is being on the Lower East Side of Manhattan with, you know, this ragtag group of castaway kids.
So Agnostic Front, Madball, the DMS crew. I was advised that you had your hand in bringing that to light. Could you expound on that some?
Well, I mean, Agnostic Front was already a thing when I got on the scene. Those are my elders. I mean, we all looked up to Agnostic Front. Vinny is all of our big brother. He's my big brother and my uncle all in one. You know, he's Uncle Vinny. I looked up to him since I was a kid, and Roger forever and ever has been my big brother. You know, I remember being 16 years old and Agnostic Front playing at CBGB's, and we're sitting in that white 15-passenger van they used to have back then and playing around with the pit bull. And Freddie was a little cute little kid, and Roger telling all of us skinhead kids, they're like, hey, look after my brother, you know, because they had to set up, you know, for the stage and everything and get everything right. So he's like, yeah, everybody watch out for my brother. And, you know, I carrying Freddie around on my shoulders, all of us, we all loved him. He was such a beautiful little kid. And there was no DMS yet at that time. Soon after, you know, that would become a thing. And but Agnostic Front was already they were already there. Cro-Mags were starting to rise then, but a lot of the bands that people look up to now, a lot of the older stuff too that those guys listened to, that was really relevant at that time too. Like, we weren't so far removed from the height of bands like Fear. Bands like Circle Jerks were still touring. Exploited was still touring.
Ramones would have still been around too.
Ramones were still around, but Ramones were popular, by that time. DRI forever. You know, DRI was everywhere. And then the real underground bands, you had things like MDC. You know, dead cops out on the street. You know, it's like just brutal shit. You had GBH, Discharge, of course, Knobby Bones, I Love You, Broken Bones. And we listened also to Oi. We listened to Oi, and we listened, you know, to more punk from England. Anti-Nowhere League, one of my favorite bands. You know, of course, like as I mentioned before, Fear, which is another one of my favorite bands. These things were all relevant at that time. Then you had this, you know, DOA, you know, DI, you know, it was a national thing and a global thing. And the New York kids, they put their own unique passion and feeling to it. And it was even more gritty, more grimy. The breakdowns were more brutal, you know. maybe the settings were a little bit more distorted.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, it's like, and next were from out of that, you have New York hardcore. You have these bands started popping up, Sick of It All, and Raw Deal, which became Killing Time because they, you know, they had to change their name. But you know, Gorilla Biscuits, and you had the whole straight edge movement. You know, God bless Minor Threat. But you had the DC New York connection. You know, made popular by the Bad Brains, which Bad Brains, you know, everybody always lists them as a hardcore band, but really, Bad Brains were a punk band. They were a punk band, but that was the greatness of them. They influenced this next generation of sound.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to be around that. You know, as far as, you know, the beginning of DMS, DMS was actually created by a young man who was born in Dublin, Ireland, raised here in America, named Raymond Oglesby. And he is a graffiti writer. And I was sitting next to him one day, my brother Jeer, and he put under the bottom of his tag, he had like a little sketchbook, you know, like a lot of graffiti writers, and they would, you know, try new styles and stuff, and then later go and put it in big murals on walls. But he would always sketch things in his book. So one time he did a nice tag in the book and had like wild style letters and everything. And under the bottom of it, he put DMS. So I was sitting there smoking a blunt with him, and we're smoking, and he's smoking, and he got it there, and he's drawing, and I said, yo, bro, what does that mean? DMS. What is that? He says, that's Doc Martin's stomp. I said, what? He said, that's Doc Martin's stomp, because, you know, when we got beef with somebody, we want to stomp their ass out. And I fell out laughing. I thought it was fucking hilarious, because we all wear Dr. Martens. We're all skinheads, mostly from that part of the hardcore scene, where we're skinheads and multiracial, anti-Nazi. You know, because we were kids, mostly first and second generation immigrant kids from different countries that we all were either born here or brought over when we were real young, and we all grew up together. So our crew had different ethnicities, different religions and everything from the gate. And I said, Doc Martin's stomp. I like that. The following week, I got one of those Champion, like it was like a cardigan, it had snap buttons going down. The little Champion C. I got a black one and had the gray varsity letters put on the back, DMS. And after that, it spread to more of the guys in our immediate crew at that time getting DMS, and like, yo, that's what's up, man. DMS. We're gonna back each other up no matter what, against anything. We're gonna fight together. That's it. And it spread. It spread. And the rest is history.
Yeah. I had actually, in my band here in Richmond, and called Independent, I had the honor of meeting Vinny Stigma, because he was on tour with Madball when we opened for him, right?
Oh yeah.
So he was just down there, they were all chilling, and you know, I remember we finished playing the show, I always remember this, and Vinny Stigma came up to me, he's like, that shit was hard, man, you know, so it's like, yeah, you know, and but, you know, Freddie, I remember this one time, we were with Hoya in the back of the bar called Twisters. I think I told you about this. We were back at the venue, Twisters, we played at, we're about to play at. And those times, you know, they didn't have any tour bus. They all drove their own cars down, you know, because they just coming from New York to Richmond. That's what, 5-hour trip. So they just, you know, and it was interesting talking to them cats, because, like, I remember Hoya was like, I was talking about the record label. He was just like, man, I wish I seen $1 that we got, you know, from the record label for this. I was like, and me in my young mind, I'm like thinking, y'all, you know, y'all Madball, y'all make all this big money, all this kind of stuff. And Freddie was like, I think he said he was a plumber or something like that.
Yeah,
and
he was at one time he was like an apprentice.
Yeah.
Too, but yeah,
but
he's skilled with his hands.
At that time, they brought me down to reality about the life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of truly what people do when they play hardcore music. You know, good brothers, man. I learned so much from them cats. But the question is, how was it being black back then in the hardcore scene?
Well, I don't want to make this sound all bad, because I had a lot of fun being on the hardcore scene. But I'm going to say this, giving light to everything that's going on in the world right now, there's similarities to now as to 1987,
Yeah.
86, 87, 88, 89, 90, my time there before I got incarcerated. There's similarities, but now for the older guys like me, it's weird. See, back then when you were a kid, you want to impress your friends. You do want to fit in. You want to fit in. You want to be a part of a tribe. I understand that now as a secure adult. But you love this music. You know, you're dating girls now. You know, and you might not have a particular desire for, you know, a girl like, you know, I only date black girls or I only date white girls. Like, you're dating all different types of girls. You love and appreciate all the different ethnicities of the women and your friends, and this is all supposed to be about punk rock. This is all supposed to be about hardcore and unity, and we're together. Being that the whole punk rock scene, the underground scene, is predominantly a white subculture, you know, if you will. It's dominated by a lot of white people. The blacks and Latinos, we were there, but if we were a minority in society, we were a dreadful minority inside that. However, many of the pioneers of the punk rock music happened to be black and Latino. And we always go back to the Bad Brains, but there were so many other bands too that either had a black drummer like Dead Kennedys, or black bass player, or black, you know, Richie Stotts from Plasmatics.
Fear actually had a black drummer, believe it or not, at the time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Fear did too. There were Latino guys and girls in bands and things. Some people that I learned later that I always thought were white were actually, you know, from Argentina and things like that. And so it was, the cultural diversity was there. But it was favored by white kids. Okay? Many of whom were friends of mine. Many of times of revealing things that were said to me. You know, because you're dealing with white kids that never really had any social interaction with anybody black or Latino. So how can somebody create empathy when they don't even understand your culture? You would like to say, based on simple things, because we're human beings and I should be loved just as much as you should, right? Yeah, sometimes these things fall on deaf ears just simply because they didn't grow up like you. But here you are, and my happy ass, I'm going, yeah, I love everybody. Woo, which is, you know, it becomes a problem for black people overall, because no matter what genre of music you're into or whatever you're in, we always are willing to take the first step forward to unify. When we try to segregate, I mean, when there was segregation and we were trying to integrate, we came at you with some peace and love. We try to get you to understand, you know, I just want you to understand how I'm feeling, man. You know, we always make the first effort to show love. Well, imagine being on a punk rock scene and I go to a house party, I'm the only black guy there. Granted, most of the people in there love me and they probably will fire somebody up in there if they messed with me. But you always had that one guy. Or that one girl. And say, you know what, Scott? You're a cool guy. And me being happy, like, oh man, thank you. Thanks. I appreciate the compliment. And then they tell you some shit like, you're not like the other ones. And I say, put down my beer. And I go, what? Not like the other what? He said, you're not like the other black guys. You don't talk all the like slang and wear the shell top Adidas and the Kango. You're not trying to be LL Cool J.
I'm having deja vu right now.
And then I'm like, oh, so you think that I'm more like you because I'm wearing this Minor Threat shirt and Dr. Martens on my feet? I'm like, I said, oh, yo, you know what, by the way? Yeah, what's up, Scotty? Bye! You knock him right the fuck out, and everybody's like, what are you doing? Scotty, what are you doing? That was Bobby! I say, Bobby's a dick. You know, he's over here fucking saying to me, you know, yo, why'd you hit Tommy? Because that motherfucker didn't duck when I swung. You understand? These people get in their minds as though when you're willing to have peace and come with love and understanding, that somehow makes you this house Negro, like you're Steven on Django Unchained. No, I'm not that dude. You will get fucked up disrespecting me and my people. Don't get it twisted because we stage dive off the same stage and we mosh next to each other. Absolutely not. So, growing up at that time, being in the scene, and now coming fast forward to today, many of the people that I thought would be progressive in their mind are absolutely not.
Yeah.
The racial divide is there, and this wasn't no conspiracy sponsored by Saros or some other stupid shit. No, these are individual choices of people. And that same underlying racism existed back in the 80s. It still exists today in this country, unfortunately, today.
All right, got another question for you, sir.
All righty.
Best show that you've ever seen? Best band, best show that you remember for the rest of your life? Break it down.
I could only pick one?
One, for now. You know I'm going to be back, so.
Oh, man, that's fucking hard.
Yeah, I mean, one that, one. Give me one that you, right now, come to your memory, you're like, yo, I'll never forget this. Like, one of my favorite shows ever that I seen was, I saw this Rancid show, actually. I saw Rancid play, I think it was in Richmond. No, it was at the beach. It was at the beach. And it was right after the first Rancid album came out. That was one of the best punk shows I've seen, just because it was insane.
Best show. See, because I have three that come to mind that I always... I will say this, because I've never seen another band do this. Mm-hmm. I seen Slayer during the Hell Awaits tour in 85. And I never seen a band make an entire... Not just the audience of fans that were there to see Slayer, but the people that were working in the club that night. I went to see them at L'Amour's in Brooklyn. And, you know, they have the barmaids and, you know, the girls serving the drinks. You got bouncers in the club, too. So, and most of them listen to heavy metal, too. But, you know, you're there serving drinks. Girls are walking by looking all sexy and pretty. Walking by holding trays with drinks on them, beer and everything. And they're delivering them to people. And, you know, the girls behind the bar serving the drinks. And the bouncers looking all hard and tough, you know, in front of the stage, you know, collecting tickets at the door. As well as all of us fucking crazy kids, you know, metal skinhead kids in there. And when Slayer came on, you know, they had this like little projection screen thing, and the projection screen went up, and everybody's immediately screamed, Slayer, Slayer, yeah. And Slayer doesn't say nothing. There's like a dim light behind the drum riser, and they're all standing up. They're all standing up, like, you know, they're, you know, standing up, holding their guitars, and they're just standing there, and they had the 20 penny nails and everything sticking out, and Tom Araya stepped up to the microphone and he says, "Join us." He just stepped back. So now the crowd's starting to get a little quiet now. Mm-hmm. So they're going. He said. Then he stepped up again and he says, "Join us." Mind you, Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman are just standing there. Their hair is just limp, dead. They're just standing there like this. And he comes again, "Join us." So now everybody is starting in with the mantra, "Join us. Join us." So I'm Slayer too. I'm with it, heavy metal. Yeah, we gonna get crunk. Mm-hmm. Say, yeah, join us. It went and became a mantra, but it was like in this steady rhythm to where it was like a trance. Mm-hmm. Join us. Join us. So I'm in there going, join us. Join us. And I turn and I look at the kids next to me and, on the edge of the pit. And they're going, join. It was almost like they were hypnotized. Mm-hmm. And I look now and the bouncer's standing there looking big, long hair, big guys. They're going, join us. join it. I turn around and look at the barmaids holding the drink. These beautiful girls wearing fishnet stockings and hair all teased up and everything. And they're going, join us. Join us. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Is this a cult? This is unbelievable. Not one chord has been played yet. Mm-hmm. Not one. Dave Lombardo ain't touched them pedals yet. And he'd say, join us. And then Tom Araya goes, walk in darkness. Listen, the moment that Dave Lombardo hit the drums, the lights went on behind the drum. Boom. And he's like, boom, dan, chicka, 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 chicka. I never seen anything like that in my life. From the front of the stage to the bar, it was chaos. Slayer, to this day, is my favorite fucking band. I have never seen a band control an audience like that. If they would have told us, now go outside and destroy all the vehicles, everybody's car would have been shit. We'd have fucked up everything. Listen. And they went on from being that, playing in small venues, to playing 40,000 seat arenas, playing Ozfest, playing at the Felt Forum and destroying the Felt Forum. The kids were ripping the seats out of the floor. Now, Slayer is, I didn't even think Slayer is a band, man. Slayer is a religion. Like, you know, if I said any other bands, I mean, I could say Cro-Mags with GBH. I seen Toxic Reason, 7 Seconds, Cro-Mags, GBH, which was a monster show at the Ritz. And I would like to say, too, 24/7 Spies, Leeway, and the Bad Brains was probably... Those 3 shows are probably the greatest shows I've had. And I seen Slayer last year. Excuse me. I seen Slayer last year, you know, the farewell tour, final tour. And I got to tell you, seeing them live in a big area now, filled to the rafters with people, they still had that effect that they had on me at 15 of join us. The moment Tom starts singing, it's like, God hates us all. Like, the whole fucking state, and there's upside down crosses burning, and you know, and you're like, what the fuck? Slayer, man. I don't even think anything could quite compare. They've always been like that, and I love it.
Gotcha. So as we can see, you got the sharp banner behind you.
Oh yeah.
If you could please elaborate on, you know, the skinhead culture, how you got in it, and you know what it means to you.
Well, how I got in the skinhead culture actually it's a part of that, but it's separate from that. And see, let me be clear about this, because a lot of people don't want to go on record because they're frightened of the stigmatism. At 50 years old, I really, not that I don't care about people's feelings and emotions, because I do. I care so much that I care about, and I'll choose my words properly. But I'm not swayed, or I have some heavy concern with telling this truth. A skinhead is a hooligan. Let's be clear here. Skinheads in England were hooligans. They listened to ska music and reggae. They wore a particular uniform type thing. They, you know, stay pressed Levi's, Fred Perry shirts, Ben Sherman shirt, flight jacket. It was kind of a uniform of a working class kid in England. Dr. Martin boots. We also know that's a staple in England. These were the shoes of the working class. But all of these kids love football. They love soccer. What they call in Europe, they call it football. What we call football in America is like my beloved New York Giants. You know, different thing, you know. A sport nevertheless, but done a different way. These guys, depending on which area in England they came from, and what club they supported, they would go to these matches with like 20 from that area in Brixton, 40 from that area in East End, wherever part you were from in England. And they would meet up with 40 more guys and 30 more guys. And they were all going, Man U or Arsenal or whatever you... And these guys would drink beer all wearing double-stitched steel-cap Dr. Martens, and they would throw you a beating if you were from the other rival club or any other club for that matter. And, wherever there's socioeconomic impoverishment, there's normally violence soon to come with it. A lot of drinking, a lot of drug usage. For American skinhead, it's a similar thing, but it's done different because our society is built different than England. Their cops over there, the bobbies, they don't carry guns. A cop in America would look at you like you were retarded if you told him he couldn't carry his gun. That would be like, what? That's like an institution in America. It's just done different. There's a similarities, but it's done different. I was introduced to skinhead through the music, but the skinheads that really taught me what a skinhead is, they were all criminals. They taught me to do armed robberies and package drugs. Forget all the fantasy shit that you may have been hearing about skinhead. Oi, oi, brother. Oh, yeah, oi, show me your fucking hands, man, and put the money on the fucking floor. Yeah, that was how I was introduced to skinhead. Yeah, Scotty, don't be a punk. Here, hold the fucking gun. And I'm 15. These guys around me are all fucking criminals. The good guys that, was moving away from that lifestyle, it's like John Joseph from the Cro-Mags. And that's my big brother. And he just stayed the course and got more into the martial arts and the training and riding his bicycle and vegan eating and clean and Hare Krishna. And he, and just stuck with, the Cro-Mags. And that was his vibe at the time. So he was an influence on me too. My boy Errol was another one of my elders that come up with him. He's a skinhead from England, and he's a black skin from England. I mean, he would have an ice pick and a fucking 380 in his Crombie coat. And he taught me to do robberies. Bags, both of them are passed away now. Errol and Bags, these guys were not nice guys. They loved me, and they were beloved by us, but these guys were hooligans, thugs. And that's how I was raised to be a skinhead. I wasn't raised to play patty cake with people. I was raised that if we're going to get it on, I'm punching you in the face right now. And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to punch you in the face. I'm going to hit the big stupid guy next to you because I don't want that smoke. So while I'm talking to you, now I'm coming back to you. So it's going to be, I'm going to hit him. You want to look that way? I'm going to clap you too. And I'm going to hit your man behind him. See, that's how I was raised to be a skinhead. I wasn't raised to go, oh my goodness, you have new Dr. Martens. This wasn't an Old Navy advertisement when I was growing up. This shit was brutal. You hit, you get hit, you hit back, keep moving, rotate around. All right, all of you lay on the fucking floor. That was my skinhead.
Well, you heard it here from a real OG. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you would have got beat up in those days, like if you weren't. Listen, and not everybody was mean to you. There's a lot of love and a lot of tenderness between people. Yeah. But if you spoke out a line there, or you was around the alleyway crew and anybody, and all the guys in Warzone and all that thing, you would have got beat up in front of the pyramid. You couldn't come out your mouth and just say shit. As loving and sweet as you see Jimmy Gestapo from Murphy's Law, you couldn't have, because he's like that. He's sweet and kind, and he'll give his shirt off his back to everybody. And he want everybody, come drink, come have a good time, come get something to eat. But if you said something out of line, even he's kicking you around like a FIFA soccer ball. None of these guys were like, we'll love you, we'll be kind, but don't play yourself. You will get fucked up. And that's how I grew up.
But, so, me knowing you and our many conversations, I'm going to wrap it up with this. Could you please give the people, your personal philosophy of being a human being, how you think things should go, just your personal, your own philosophy, you know what I'm saying, in life.
Do we have enough time on the camera?
No,
I wasn't being. I'm being serious.
No. You can trim it down because we're gonna have part 1, 2, 3 down the line.
Okay,
yeah,
well, I'm gonna tell you this, and I use also religion as somewhat of a metaphor too. in religion, we espouse a God that we can't make a tangible reality. We espouse a God that we can't make tangible. Yet we could find flaws in someone else or something else. Mm-hmm. So, all right, here's a God that you can't substantiate in a physical way, but you say everything in creation was created by that God, but you still can't substantiate, but you don't even talk to your neighbors. Mm-hmm. How can you claim to love God that created all of us, but you find flaw with somebody else's race, sexuality, or hypocrisy, right?
Yeah.
My whole take on human beings and human existence, and this is complex within its simplicity. Mm-hmm. It's complex, yet so simple that you should. Why are we not doing everything in our power on this planet to elevate each other to evolve? Mm-hmm. Every time, I love this, I use this also as a metaphor. Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Every time you look at Star Trek, you know, whether it be the original format Star Trek, you know, with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, or how they brought it more to life as the years went on and went to the next generation, which is a generation removed from that. When you ever talk about Star Trek, they talk about Starfleet and Starfleet Academy, right? Mm-hmm. When you look at the Earth at that point, what is it, a year 24 something? We're way into the future. Everybody's living good, man. We use all our technology to heal everyone, feed everyone, and to create these gigantic spaceships to go to new places, you know, where no man has gone before. Why aren't we trying to do that now? How are we getting caught up in race issues? Mm-hmm. Why aren't we using all of our resources to heal everybody? It's madness. We'll come up with a new style of automatic weapon every year. Different. Well, that one last year carried 9 plus 1 rounds. This one has 15 rounds. It's 14 plus 1. We could come up with all new handguns, rifles, new ways to kill other people. We can't come up with new ways, man, to heal babies. We can't come up with new medicine, cardiology, medicine, neuroscience, medicine for the brain, for the mind, to heal people. We can't stop hunger on our planet. We got all the equipment to do these things, yet we don't. It's so simple. It's in its complexity. It's still simple. All we have to do is take the first step forward and do it. Don't try to do it. Do it. You see your neighbor hungry, you make him a plate of food. You got something you could spare. That kid needs cigarettes. Not cigarettes. God, not cigarettes. That kid needs sneakers. You got 6 pairs of Air Maxes in your house. Give the kid a fucking pair of sneakers. These things are not difficult. And we could still find time to... Now the people are making shirts that say Black Lives Don't Matter, because they feel that they need to be in opposition of the Black Lives Matter movement. What are you thinking? Where does your mind go that you could create some shit like that? Mm-hmm. You're going to tell me that you justifying a 17-year-old kid who was supplied with an AR-15 by his mother, who drove him to a rally to be on the anti-side of the rally and shoot people, and you're going to justify this kid's actions? Where do we live? What is this? Because I'm going to tell you right now, if we were all on a big ship and we were taking on water and we had to get to them dinghies to get the fuck off in them life raft, your whole perspective would change. You know? Your whole perspective would change. My color, my religion, my sexuality, any of those things wouldn't matter if I had to hold out my goddamn arm to keep you from drowning and pull you on the dinghy so you could survive. None of that would matter if you needed to depend on me to live. We depend on each other as a human race. Pull up the next person. This is not hard. This does not require a PhD or a fucking undergrad studies in physics. You know, for humans, this is complex in its simplicity. Stop looking for the God that you can't see and deal with the creation of God that you see every day. Deal with the people that you see every day that you could kiss and you could hug and you can affect them emotionally and mentally and spiritually. This is not difficult. This is not, the 80-something-year-old old lady that doesn't like black people. Mama, if you fell down right now, God forbid you break your hip, do you know I would pick you up and carry you to the hospital? Does it really matter? What does it mean? Start loving each other, man. This is simple shit. Your racism can't be more important than loving and nurturing you. And that's pretty much that in a nutshell. We just have to think better and do better, be better. Not try. Don't try to do anything, because if you try, you're not doing nothing. You're stuck like a truck in the mud. Do it. Do it. You see, Nike coined the phrase and got all you fucking buying Air Hirachis. Just do it. And now you motherfuckers just ain't doing shit. No, I'm telling you, just do it. I'm taking the phrase back. Don't try to do it. Go fucking do it. Okay? Nike needs to give me some of that money too. But I love you.
Another thing is, before you go, please tell the people, because I know you got your podcast, other thing, tell them how we can contact you and etc.
Y'all can hit me up on my Instagram. My Instagram is at JAH_chemistry, CHEMISTRY. My podcast is Till the Wheels Fall Off Podcast. It's on YouTube, and it's also, I have a site on my Instagram for the same. So it's Till, TILL, the Wheels Fall Off Podcast. Remember, it's _podcast on the Instagram, but you pull it up. When you pull up the Jock Chemistry one, you're going to have the link immediate to that. But I also have another YouTube, which is Scott Jock Chemistry Ebanks, SCOT 1T. And you can hit me up on that as well, and you can watch whatever videos I put up or whatever's going on in my life at that moment. And you can inbox me, speak. If you have any questions, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you all damn day. But I thank you, and I love you all. I do. I just got a sense of humor.
Yeah, I got you, man. I always like the people sometimes have questions for me about my most recent book that came out. By chance, did you have any questions about?
Not yet, because I need to get the book.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good answer.
Once I get the book, we'll have a full critique.
You know what? Could you hand me that? I think it's in that top. Open up that zipper right there, please. Not that one. That one right there. Yeah, right there. Open that up. I think it's in there. Here you go.
Can I imitate? Oh, look! Listen, Champion Splash, just come in. We have a rude boy book here, man. Listen, I'll read this right now. It's like, can we imitate Damon Wayans? Like, they had men on film, so this will be men on books. He's like, it gets 2 snaps in a circle. Hated it. It's like, oh man, this is good. Zoser, uncut. Oh, it's send in the Grand Pharaoh. Nice, I love that. Well, in our next film, we will discuss this book.
All right, we'll discuss it.
We will discuss this book. My brother went on some real serious comedic science here. I like this one because I got a roughed up copy. That's
the punk rock copy.
This is the punk. This is the way you're supposed to read. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, I will have to tell you this. For those of you that seek to battle me and debate me and argue with me on social media, hear this now. I did not get my education off of Google. Understand? I read textbooks growing up. I rode a bicycle growing up. I went outside and played stickball. We played Manhunt 1, 2, 3 and Hot Peas and Butter. And sometimes I still play it with my woman. I hide the belt and I spank her ass when she gets close to the belt. No, listen, I grew up like a real American kids. We read books. And our parents beat our ass when we didn't do our homework. Yes.
Yep.
I'm not telling you to beat your kids. Don't fucking do it. If you do it, I'm going to fucking come to your house and beat you. Listen to me. Read the books. You're not going to retain all the information you're getting off fucking Google. And don't think for 1 minute that you could actually hold a debate against me by getting shit off of Google. I have at least 2 PhD levels of intelligence in my mind that you're just going to be fucking salt. You're fucking with me. Just listen to what's being said, cross-reference it with something else, and then get back at me. But don't try to tear down somebody else, man. That's obviously more intelligent than you. Listen to the person. I do it. I listen to the people that inspire me and smarter than me, and I don't have any hang-ups with that. Yep. Why do you? Stop it. You look like a jerk-off. And while I do love you, I got to call you on it. Stop doing that. When somebody has something meaningful and good to say to you, and stop coming up with this fucking conspiracy theory shit too. You're talking about black people are being motivated by shit from some guy that owns fucking Amazon or whatever. Dude, we've had issues with people in this country for fucking 465 years. That wasn't from no conspiracy shit. Come on, man. That's some lame ass shit. You know, if somebody native in this country jumps up and says, yo, listen, I don't have any problem, but I do have a sincere issue with this, and I have a concern with this. And then somebody's standing behind them going, oh, it's a conspiracy. No, it's no fucking conspiracy. It's reality. Just like my cousin had said before earlier today, oh, we're on the reservation. It's federally protected land, but you and your infinite wisdom could build the fucking pipeline through the fucking Sioux reservation. Come on, man. You're bugging. Ain't no conspiracy. Shit is real, but I love you. We'll get back in contact with you later.
All right, brother. As always, wonderful conversation. And yeah, that's your copy. You know what I'm saying? We'll definitely build next time I'm up here. You know, we'll go from there.
Oh, go to Post America Podcast, episode 112. That's the new one. I'm in that one too. You'll like it. You especially if you're driving, you need to go somewhere. You want to listen to something good. Post America Podcast on SoundCloud or iTunes. It's up there. Go check it out. Episode 112. Go have fun. Peace.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good one.
I want you to utilize your third eye. I want you to utilize your third eye. The world is against you and nature's your ally. Your ancestors are waiting for you to comply. The right knowledge will get you the truth. Right understanding wisdom will get you the truth.